Welcome back to It's On. Susan G. Komen, Kentucky is teaming up with 24 restaurants and businesses in Lexington and Louisville for the second annual Confections for the Cure fundraiser. They're going to create an original pink dessert in honor of breast cancer survivors. Jennifer's over at the desk with the goodies, but I get the real treat. I get to talk today with Mike Davis. Thanks for being here.
You're very welcome.
Mike, you're a breast cancer survivor, and you're not a woman. We noticed that right off.
That's a fact.
Are people still surprised by the fact that men can suffer from breast cancer and do?
People are surprised. I've gotten to speak to a lot of different groups and so forth, but people always come up and tell me, like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And most women know that the men can get breast cancer. But I have to tell you, I don't know the percentages wise, but most of the men do not.
They don't, and that can be dangerous in diagnosing because it's not top of mind when you're having some of these symptoms.
Sure.
But what would you tell men? What would you tell them as a survivor to look out for?
One, if I'd ever looked at any of the literature that women had, all of those symptoms are really the very same thing. Yeah. I had never seen one of those. Obviously, I had no reason to look at one of them. But if the guys see anything different, anything unusual, abnormal that you're kind of wondering about, have it checked.
It's not just part of aging.
No, it's not.
Right.
That's a fact. And that's what most of us think.
Yeah.
I thought for me, it was like I've got this, lump on my chest, and it was growing, it was growing, it was growing. I thought, well, it's probably an injury of some sort, or I'm just getting older.
Were you thinking cancer when you went and first had that checked out?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. I just thought, I grew up on a farm, played basketball, football. I just figured it was another knot.
Right.
But it did
rub dirt on it and it'll be okay.
Exactly. And it started bothering me a little bit, started itching, and I noticed myself, I was walking around actually scratching my chest, and then I kind of realized, this is not right.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I'm glad you're here talking about this, and we'll tell women too, talk to your husbands, your brothers, your sons about this, because you're obviously doing great.
Thank you.
So it's important to be aware, and thank you for sharing.
You're very welcome.
All right, Jennifer's at the desk now, though, with SEVERN Miller and Barbara POLLITT from MISSY'S Pies. They're making raspberry bliss. You better save Mike some.
We are. We're going to be trying it out here in just a minute. Thank you, Nancy. And MISSY'S Pies is one of the restaurants that's taking part in Confections for a Cure, and they are creating an absolutely beautiful pink treat called Raspberry Bliss. This is your first year being part of this event. Yes. Why was it important to be part of Confections for a Cure?
Because of this girl right here. SEVERN had breast cancer, and we were all devastated. We've worked for years with each other, and she is my inspiration.
Thanks, Barb. And you have been recently diagnosed. Tell us a little bit about your battle and what it's been like for you.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed 8 days before I turned 40. I have stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, which means that I will stay in treatment for the rest of my life. But I went through 4 rounds of chemo, and I have no evidence of disease. Yeah, it's really been quite an incredible year and a half. So now I still get treatment, but I am cancer-free.
Oh, that's great. That is great. And this is a way that you can honor her, but also all of the cancer patients and survivors all across Kentucky by taking part in this event. Raspberry Bliss, what is the inspiration behind this, and how did you decide on this?
Well, definitely it's pink. Big thing there. And it was one of our very, very most popular pies.
You love this pie, don't you?
Oh, it's one of my all-time favorites, and she never makes it anymore.
Well, it's incredibly expensive to make, and I would have to charge $30 a pie for that.
Give us a little, we have the base here, so when you're making this, everything that goes into it.
So the bottom of this is cream cheese, pureed raspberry, and powdered sugar, and then on top of that, a layer of chocolate ganache. We let that set up, and then we top it with whipped cream, and then chocolate and raspberry.
And this is only for a limited time, the Confections for a Cure. So if people come to MISSY'S Pies, how can they get the Raspberry Bliss?
Well, we're only serving it by the slice.
Okay.
No whole ones are going to go out. They can come to the shop, which is 502 East High Street, or they can go to any of the Ramsey's locations. There are 4 Ramsey's locations and a Ramsey's Country Store.
All right, great.
Any of those places.
Thank you so much for being here. And best of luck to you. Thank you for sharing your story with us. And we hope everybody will take part in Confections for a Cure. To help Komen Lexington, you can just go to KomenKentucky.org/confections- for the cure. All right, stay with us. The Humane Society's Pet of the Day is next.